You're listening to Left at the Valley 2.0, Atheist, Skeptic, and Humanist Radio.
What's up, heathens? This is John, the Godless Engineer, and I took a left at the valley.
I know we shouldn't have to scream that we're atheists. You know, we don't have non-astrologers and all that. But with religious people taking over the world, I mean, we can either speak up or be pushed into a corner.
I'm proud to be an atheist, a skeptic, a non-believer, an infidel, a heathen. I call it how I see it. I say it's ignorance and you just call it faith and unsubstantiated claims. That's something to be ashamed. I'm an atheist.
Coming at you from beautiful BC, Alligator, Florida, Six-Shooter, Texas, and Twin City, Minnesota, this is Left of the Valley 2.0. My name is Kevin, and people cheating on their tax is disgusting. This is not what I want my 23 dependents to grow up with. Joining me, as usual, is the team who pointed out the same people upset at naked mouses in a brook didn't seem to mind seeing Melania's butt naked. She says, if you die during orgasm, you're coming and going at the same time. Sabrina.
Hey, that's true, though, you know. Think about it.
He knocked on the door of a psychic. When she yelled, who is it? He left. Brett Lee.
You're muted, dude.
He's muted? Oh, boy. He told me bad rainbows go to prison, but it's a light sentence. Benjamin.
Hello. Yes. Prisms.
And she woke up, saw her cat Shadow. Now she needs six more cups of coffee. Hertzie.
Only 6? Nah. Up that number.
Right?
Welcome back. And this episode is brought to you by our noble spirit and Biggins, the smallest man, a perfectly prominent word. One of our patrons who is so tough that when he slices onions, the onions cry. You too can become a patron. To go to patreon.com/LATV and help the show grow. Guys, welcome back. We'll be talking to Janice Selby in the second half of the show. But first, let's do a bit of chit-chat. Oh, and a quick reminder, this is also the Recovering from Religion fundraiser that's going on until February 19th. So this is about the last week. You'll have them. Go to rfr.org, support their fundraiser. These guys do amazing work, which of course comes from our good old friend Dr. Del Rey. So if you have a few coins to spare, help these guys. They do a lot of great work for the community and for believers or not ex-believers out there. Mm-hmm. All right. Okay. In the chit-chat news, I kind of don't have a whole lot this week, but that's okay. Do you guys hear there's in international news, there's an ongoing dispute in India where several schools have implemented a ban on hijabs.
No.
Yeah, this is a ban on hijabs. This has raised fears among the Muslim students and that they could be deprived of their religious rights in the majority Hindu nation. There's been a lot of tension between Muslims and Hindus in India for a long time now. Muslims, and of course, in some of these parts of the world, Muslims do face a lot of persecution in China and Myanmar, for example, right? And of course, this has international tensions rising because right next door to India is Pakistan. That's right. And Pakistan is very Muslim. And these two countries are always kind of engaging. And they're both nuclear powers now.
Oh, wow.
I remember.
It's kind of scary, actually.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, if only there was an agreement about that somewhere.
I
think they're part of it?
I remember that I was watching an interview with Bill Maher when he was talking about when he interviewed then President Barack Obama. And he asked him kind of in private, said, you know, what keeps you up at night? And Obama replied, Pakistan. Pakistan is the country. It's not Russia. It's not China. It's Pakistan is the country that keeps him up at night and awake. And I can understand why. There's a lot of fanatics in that part of the world. So the dispute in Karnataka has set off other protests, and they have captured the attention of the Pakistanis as well. Muslims, by the way, in case you didn't know, they make up about 14% of the population, which is 1.4 billion people in India.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's a fair amount of people, actually. Right?
Oh, yeah. Do they have like a secular? Is it kind of like how we're supposed to be, like a secular government? You know, where it's like freedom for religion, or no?
The Indian government is very Hindu, and this is the problem here. Right now, it's going through India's courts, and they've directed the courts have actually directed the states to reopen the schools. That's because they've actually the state-run schools. Some of them were actually shut down because of this, because of the protest. And the courts have basically said, no, you guys are reopening the schools, but a decision is pending. So it's going to be very interesting to watch what happens there.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah, because I mean, like, I'm not, it's not like I like religion, but I do like liberty, and I do like the ability, like, what the hell? Like, they're not allowed to cover, to wear the hijab. Come on now. That's
I was
for
gonna
what?
be snarky and say what would they do if they banned the turban, but then you said Hindu, and Hindus don't have the requirement to wear a turban.
Sikhism
So.
that has
Exactly. So do they do
yeah.
that for the people who are Sikh? Like, or is there any Sikh people in? You know what I mean? Like, you got to think about it.
There's a lot of dispute between Sikhism, Hinduism.
I know exactly. So
but Sikhism is
wonder,
a small portion as compared to.
which is interesting because I guess it's why because they were so persecuted they came here. Because in our area, that's predominantly Sikh.
Yeah, there's a lot of
Yeah.
immigrants here
Anyway.
in Vancouver, anyway, in this area, absolutely.
Huh, that's cool.
So I always thought it was actually the predominant religion in India.
No.
I'm very wrong.
No.
And they're pretty chill dudes, from what I understand.
Yeah, they.
Oh yeah,
they're
absolutely.
They have actually
Amazing food.
Yes,
I've heard that.
Oh man,
Surprising.
I'm hungry.
Sikh temples, actually, if you're a homeless person, it's a place you will always be fed.
Always and taken care of. Doesn't matter who you are, what color you
don't
are.
have to be Sikh.
If you walk in and you say I'm hungry, they will feed you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, that's cool.
24 hours a day, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, I don't
need more of that. That's what we need more of right there.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's kind of religion done right.
But then let's talk about,
Exactly.
there's a very dark side to Sikhism too. So we won't say
And-
it's
and,
exactly.
As atheists, I like to discourage the port of the hijab myself too, but I don't want to make it. I don't want to have it that way.
Yeah.
You don't ban it because I want people to drop the hijab by their own choice.
Exactly.
Not because they're forced to do so. Okay. Although Canadians are well known for apologizing, this time we actually mean it. We are sorry. Because this stupid so-called freedom trucker convoy
is not Canada
has now become some right-wing phenomena, and it's spreading. It's spreading all over the
nasty.
world.
I'm sorry.
Technically, didn't the U.S. kind of start this because we're the ones who started all the conspiracy theories?
Well, yeah, maybe, and
okay,
and also
I
there's a
could
lot
go
of
with that.
there's a lot of funding
queue here.
There's a lot of funding that's happening that's funding that Canadian convoy of trucks that's coming from the States as well. But the thing did start here, right? So semblance of convoys are forming in the U.S. and in France, where anti-COVID demonstrators breach police barricades in parts and snarl traffic around the Arc de Triomphe and the Champs-Élysées in Paris. So,
oh wow.
Yeah, so convoys from neighboring towns descended into Paris in defiance of the police ban after being inspired by the Canadian protest. Sorry, guys.
Wow.
I'm sorry.
The French, so the French didn't like that very much. So the riot police quickly threw them tear gas, and they arrested 54 and issued 337 tickets.
Good.
And stopped about 500 vehicles from entering Paris.
Good.
There's an estimated 7,600 participants in that protest. I'm so sorry. And in New Zealand, though, this is funny too. The police simply arrested protesters for trespassing.
Yeah.
Because there was some kind of a convoy that happened in New Zealand too. Only 1,000 people actually came down to New Zealand Parliament, and all the politicians. Because usually in New Zealand, what happens when they have some kind of protest on the lawn of their parliament, there, some of the politicians will come out and try to listen to what their grievances are. All the politicians in New Zealand basically said in unison, they said, "No, we're not acknowledging this. This is bullshit. You guys go. We don't want to listen to you."
Yeah.
Oh wow.
The funny thing is, I don't know if you guys recall, but New Zealand was one of the first countries that locked down heavily when COVID started appearing and was spared most of the worst of the pandemic due to the swift action their government took. The country has only seen 53 deaths total.
Yeah. So what is it that there's
what is it that you're protesting here? The COVID measures we've saved. You guys, I know there's only a population of 5 million people in New Zealand, but still, per capita, their record is fantastic.
Yeah.
Absolutely fantastic. And they came in harsh and swift, and they said, "No, we're locking down the country, and we're making sure COVID, and testing." And they did everything right as compared to countries like ours or the U.S. Basically, take our time. It's a hoax, blah blah blah. And now we have millions of deaths in the world. They have 53. So, what exactly are these people protesting for here?
I don't know, but let's just think about this for a minute. GoFundMe actually suspended the fundraiser and refunded everybody. And because the Ottawa police told them basically that this is no longer a peaceful protest, so GoFundMe said, well, that's against our terms of service. So they canceled it. But then what happened? It went to some Christian fundraising site.
Of course it did.
And within minutes, that site was overwhelmed and millions of dollars were raised. This is, if you think for 1 second that this is anything but a right-wing protest that is now primarily being driven by the US, you're fucking nuts. Like, Q has all of a sudden come up and infiltrated. This is not what it intended to be at the beginning anyway. It has completely morphed. It may have started out as something, but it's not what it started out as at all.
So if you stumble upon out there in the audience, you stumble upon this convoy somewhere, wherever you are, okay, ask him 2 questions. Ask him, this is supposed to be a trucker's right for a protest. What rights are you protecting here? What are you what demands the truckers are making are you trying to get? Are you trying to get better wages for the truckers? Better working conditions? What are you trying to do? They're not. Okay. And number 2, let's say, for example, you have your way. We stop the mandates. We open up all the borders. We open up absolutely everything just before COVID. How do you fight COVID? What's your solution? And they won't have an answer to that.
Their answer is that COVID's no big deal anymore, and we just got to live with it.
And it's bullshit.
Natural immunity, I believe, is where they'll go. Which it's like, okay, but there's like a lot of people who tried for natural immunity and it didn't work. They're immune, technically. They're very immune. They're immune to everything now.
I mean, you can catch everything once.
Yeah. Well, so what's there's been what's the numbers in the U.S. now? It's nearly 1 million people have died from COVID in the U.S. alone.
I don't know, but I think you're right.
It's over 800,000. I know that.
Yeah, 800. Yeah, that was the last number I heard. But yeah, it's high. It's a lot. It's a lot.
Oh yeah,
way too many.
So, yeah, way too many, and it's worse than any war the U.S. has been in or anything like that. So you're at war here, whether you like it or not. We are at war against a virus. So if you want to shut down everything, sorry, I should say reopen everything and make sure everything goes back to normal because you miss going to the movie theater, that's great. But what's your plan here? What's your plan to stop all these people from dying? If you don't care about these people dying, just say so. I don't care about these people dying. I just want to go back to the movie theater.
They're literally saying that it doesn't. It's not as deadly anymore, and we just need to learn to.
Also, hydrochloroquine. They'll bring up the hydrochloroquine
or
the other.
And that ivermectin's working. Anyway, we're
and apparently drinking your pee.
It's all
yes. Yeah, all the things that you could, but I mean, it's like I think they're because they've turned this into some they live plot line, with conspiracies, and so they see it as this like evil thing to have the government to be like, hey, it's probably not a good idea for you to be killing everybody around you by spreading the virus, and they're just like, no, you don't tell me, I get to spread disease all I want.
Yeah.
No. So they are literally. I have seen it. They are literally comparing this to They Live, like they are saying that.
Oh, they love it. Yeah.
So they're comparing it to it. They think that they're the ones that can see. They have the magic glasses,
No, newsflash, they do not.
So I want you guys to be on the lookout for the next Q guy that walks into a bank and says, "I have come here to kick ass and chew bubble gum, and I'm all out of bubble gum."
Yeah,
right.
This is a great one.
That was from that movie, wasn't it?
Yes, it was from that movie. It's one of the best ones ever heard in the movie.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
I have a story real quick, if you don't mind.
Yeah, sure.
How dare
Go
you.
for
So
it.
I worked at an adult store for about 6 months or so when I was
Sure,
late
you
20s.
were.
It was awesome. Anyways, I remember this. We had a rule, of course, nobody under 18 can come in. Great. Now, if somebody brought in like a 2-year-old, I wasn't gonna. That's like fine. They're not gonna remember this. And somebody brought in like it was a 2 or 3-year-old, and the kid was a little upset. And she went over to our candy machine, which had little candy penises. Cranked it, and she's like, "He's not gonna know."
I love it.
That was one of the best days.
Kid with a handful of dick.
Did it make everything better?
He did calm
Did
down
it
a little
work?
bit after that because I mean, candy's candy.
Yeah,
Right.
makes it better for me.
Today keeps the doctor away.
Right.
Okay, let's
Okay,
start
see,
the show.
I have to stop this recording now. I have to start a new one because of that story. So-
It's perfect.
Do you?
First. Yeah, exactly. Do you?
All right, perfect. Let's do this. Okay, recording in 3, 2, 1.